what's up? Welcome back. Let's do a real quick deep dive into just what I call the gates of leadership. It's leading with purpose, how to handle power without corruption, and build leaders that build ourselves that will ultimately help us build more leaders that will outlast us as we go. Um, leadership is one of those. It's not for everyone. It's high stakes. It's not for the faint of heart. Um, Especially in some of the roles that I've had, and other peers of mine in public safety and undercover operations, and then later in life in business and entrepreneurship. And I've seen the best leaders rise, and then the worst leaders fall apart. I've seen both of those. Um, my leadership didn't come from school and books. Well, some books like in a personal development setting, but I don't have an MBA. I don't have this college degree. It's my leadership is forged from hard lessons that forced me to recalibrate and failures, and then walking through with some of the best mentors and amazing people that have helped guide me along the way. And then as I've gotten older and come in more comfort in my role, is I developed this thing on what I call the 10 gates of full clearance leadership. And it's just to help take that entry level leader and walk them into these very impactful roles. The folks that one of the places I like to spend a lot of time is in mentoring leaders or folks that have that ability that just don't want the responsibility. And what you don't understand sometimes, if you're shucking that leadership calling, is you're going to end up working for someone who's probably not going to lead to your expectations, or they're you're going to end up working for someone who has less experience from as you. Um, all sorts of things that come into why we should take on that role as we progress through our career. So these are programs that help with us to implement those and help us be effective in the moment and sustain integrity, protect the mission, and ensure that our leadership survives long after we're gone. So, gate number one is awareness. If you don't know what's right in front of your face, you're never going to survive what's coming. So, just being aware as a leader is being able to see the full field, the people, the politics, the patterns. And I equate that to operational awareness when we may be doing surveillance or staking out on a high stakes environment to where we had to be looking for those obvious clues that could put us at risk. So some of the things you can do to increase your awareness is just doing a daily awareness scan. What's happening with my team, your environment, and your industry is, what am I missing because I'm too close to the problem? For me, is every 50 minutes I would go walk my floor. When I was in that run in a business role, I'd go work and just touch base with all my faces. Like, hey, everybody good? How we doing? It allows us to develop more design leadership versus reactive. So just approach that from that mentality of what am I missing because I'm too close to the problem. Number two is your identity in the role. Is if your identity is tied to the title, you're going you're going to lead like it's a rented suit. It's not going to be beneficial to you. I am 100% a person who enjoyed the title of a leader, but did a horrible job managing it earlier on in my career. I wore a badge, but I hadn't figured out who I was as a person. My identity was tied up in some of the roles that I had. So, when you lead from a title, you're replaceable. When you lead from mission and values, you become unshakable. So take some time and define your leadership in 3 words and measure yourself against those 3 words daily. It could be your integrity, it could be whatever, but there's 3 non-negotiables that allow you to lead the same way when no one is watching. Gate number three is responsibility acceptance. The mission survives when you own the outcome. Even when you're the one that blew it, or you played a role in that, or somebody just needs to step up and accept the failure so you can move on. I've said in meetings before, 100% not account shouldn't have been accountable, but I stood up and said, "Hey, this is my fault, y'all," because they wanted to place blame on someone, and the most unlikely person that had anything to do with it stood up and said, "This is my fault because I allowed it to happen. This is my fault because I didn't have the wherewithal to get ahead of this situation and forecast that this was coming. So this is my fault for not for this failure," just so we could move into the conversation. Acceptance of responsibility just helps us move on, put it behind us, and get going. Some owners, bosses I've worked for, or leaders, they were more about naming the name of the person who had fell short, so they felt the burn of that. And I'm just not that person. In the field, deflecting blame is easy, but kills trust. In business, that's no different. When I started owning my mistakes, my credibility grew. I always say I want to be part of the solution, not the problem. And if sometimes the solution is us taking ownership of a problem and moving forward, then so be it. Um, Gate number four, decision under fire. If you stop seeking clarity when it gets uncomfortable, you'll fold when the heat rises. A plan must allow for split second decisions. Leaders must be prepared to make high speed, high accuracy calls when the pressure's on. Becomes very reactive sometimes, decisions under fire. So if we have our design leadership in place, there's already a solution that's been thought out. But there are times when we're going to have to react. So being able to train your decision making under time pressure. And then, when it's a low risk setting or what have you, give yourself 90 seconds to decide. The one thing I'll tell you, the difference in public safety is generally life is attached to a decision. Is how we're going to respond, is generally life or death is tied to the decision. In business, it can be money. So when I went into the business side of things, is my risk factor, it was harder. I had to retrain my risk factor because it was dollars, and I had to understand what I was willing to risk. And in the public safety side, we didn't risk life at all. We did everything in our possible power to protect, preserve, save, whatever that looked like. So let your decisions, you know, when I got into business, one of the tools I would use would be like, would I be comfortable writing this mistake out of my own pocket? And if I couldn't answer that in clear conscience, I'd go round table it with the owner and just be like, hey, I'm getting ready to make a decision. It's going to that could have repercussions. It's going to cost me to spend more than what I'm willing to sign a check for. And you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, but still though, um, I never, in business, I could slow things down versus in public safety. And the last one we're going to cover in this module is gate number five, is the disruption test. Not every opportunity is worth keeping. Sometimes losing what you think is a big break is going to be a gift. Or it can turn out to be a gift. Sometimes disruption clears the way for better opportunities. So when you want to apply this, is audit your commitments. Are we doing a lot of good things that we could drop a good thing and replace it with a great thing? That's how you can evaluate if an opportunity is worth it. Is it going to move our mission forward, or is it going to keep us where we are? I teach that with my kids in athletics. Is when you're trying out for a team, the team's looking for someone who's going to make them better, not keep them the same. Same thing with our opportunities that are coming into our business, into our leadership role. Is that disruption test? Is this going to help us, or is it going to keep us where we are, or is it going to hurt us? And when a setback hits, when you hit that negative bump in the road, is you can it's crazy, but ask yourself, what is this clearing room for? What is this? What as bad as this is right now? What opportunity is it open up? So listen, there's your gates 1 through 5. Let me know what you think. Anything we'd like to build off of or have any conversations around, make sure you comment below. Let me know what you think about my gates 1 through 5, and then I will do another video that covers the remaining gates. So we'll have those. But let me know what you think. Can't wait to hear from you. JeffreyRobertson.com if you'd like to carry the conversation. And I'm excited to hear from everyone.